All right, so if you have AutoCAD, right, do this. We can open up one of the drawing files. We could open up one of the drawings that we did in class. Not that one. Oh. So when this pops up, that means that it's not connected to your drawing. Oh, you're working in class. Got it. Hold on. All right. So obviously when this pops up, that means that the link that we had from the drawing file isn't there anymore, right? So you can always, when you type in xref, you can always go to that image and replace it. So you can change the file path, which is down here in our little window, and you could re-find it, right? I've renamed all of mine so that it's easier to find, right? So then you've been tracing the drawings, and I would highly recommend following these templates that I gave you. You know, walls are walls and windows are windows, et cetera, because I'm going to give everyone a template that they're going to print on. So it'll look similar to it'll be similar to this. On the wrong class. So here, you could fill in your project name, you know, the location. I'll fill this out so that it's our class, the date, the sheet name, and then the drawing number. So this is used so that everyone understands, you know, when you have a floor plan, you go to this sheet and that's how you print it, right? So usually the standard is 24 by 36 inches. And then the way you want to use a title, like you xref a title block because it then makes it consistent for every drawing that you're printing, right? So if you put your name on one of them, it'll put your name on all of them. If you tell it that the project is located here, it'll be on every single sheet, right? So say if I'm using this project as an example, if I'm using my first floor plan, or, you know, this one here, I go to the layout tab, right? So this is my model tab versus the layout tab. I go to the layout tab, and right now it's set for 8.5 by 11. You can see here that the scale is about the size of a sheet of paper. So if I go to xref and I attach the title block that I'll give to everybody, always go to the wrong class. You can load it in, press open. And you're going to specify the location on the screen. So that's okay. And then just put it at the bottom right. You could you could always move it later. But you can see now that on your little piece of paper, this is 24 by 36. So if you want the first sheet to fit here, you have to go to, you have to type in plot, the command plot, right? Continue to plot a single sheet, press OK. So this is how you print. I'll make a handout on the steps to printing, but it's not flashing on my screen, so I'm sorry that it's flashing on your screen. I'm so sorry. So you can go to PDF or DWG to PDF. And then your size is called ARC-D 24 by 36 inches. And then you can do apply to layout, for example, right? Because if you press preview, you're not going to be able to see it behind this window. So that's kind of useless as a button. But now that I pressed apply to layout and I press cancel, I can see that now that white area is now filling the screen, right? And then this object here is your viewport. So you can use the move tool and move your viewport around because the drawing is going to live in that viewport. That's your window into your model, right? That's the window into the drawing. So look at this as a piece of paper. And then this object here, your viewport, is your window into your model. So has everyone kind of learned about scale and drawing to scale and things like that? So like architects draw in different scales, 1/4 inch, 1/8, 3/16, whatever a piece of paper is, you can then use the scale to measure off of that image. So here you can click the viewport and you can set the drawing scale of that viewport to be whatever size it needs to be. So if I have my Frank Lloyd Wright floor plan over here, right, and I need this to fit on our piece of paper, what size can we make our viewport, and then what scale does it have to be to fit that drawing? So if I make it 1/8 of an inch, that looks like it's going to fit pretty well. If you make it 3/32, that also fits. And then 3/16 doesn't fit because now it's bigger than the sheet. So without clicking on the, without clicking inside the viewport, if you click the outside, you can then change the scale to 1/8 inch. Press escape. And now you can modify the viewport to fill in the floor plan. When you're drawing, you can shut off your images after. So when you print, so your drawing will fit basically in this area. Anything outside of that area won't print. You could fit one floor plan. You might even be able to fit two. So if you draw all of your floor plans in one drawing file, you can copy the viewport, move it down, and then if you click inside the viewport, you can actually pan down to wherever you located your second floor plan. Or in your model space, so that's my first floor plan, maybe I drew my second floor plan over here, right? So if I go back to my layout, there's my first floor plan. My second floor plan, if you double click inside the viewport, you could actually navigate around your drawing file. But don't forget, if you are zoomed in too far in your layout space and you double click and now you're operating in your viewport, you can't click out of the viewport, right? Now I'm stuck inside the layout space. So what you have to do is click here in model or paper space, and that gets you out of viewing that viewport. Does that make sense? And then, so you can use the pan tool and see me zooming in and out, change the scale of the drawing. So down here is the scale of that viewport. So if I just zoomed in and zoomed out to get my second floor plan, I then have to go over here and update this to 1/8 inch. And then if I wanted to align the floor plans perfectly, I can go up here, draw a reference line. So then I can take this floor plan or this viewport and move it over so that it's aligned, right? If you set your viewports to layer anything else, like if it's on wall, if it's on window, if it's on door, right? And you go to plot it, right? You can also preview before you print. It will print out the window of the viewport. It's printing out that line. If you don't want it to print that line, most people draw their viewports on what's called def points, which begins with a D. Here. This layer, this def point layer, if you go to your layers, that def point layer here is not plottable, right? That's not checked. So it will not print. So when you plot it, it will not print. When I say print, it means plot. When I say plot, it means print. That means that you're making, we usually print to PDF because that's a deliverable that you could hand me, but you could clearly, when you press plot, you can select a literal printer instead and it would print to a machine. We're just making a PDF instead of printing to an actual sheet of paper. So you could go to DWG to PDF. Make sure that this is ARC-D, 24 by 36. You're printing your layout. If this was selected to anything else, like extents or display or view or window. So say if I did extents, right? Apply to layout, cancel. Right? If I did extents and I drew a circle over here and there's something and I did plot, viewing extents, it won't be centered, right? So instead, if you did layout, if you use layout, layout refers to this piece of paper, right? So if you moved everything when you set this up and you move the outside line to the edge of that layout, whatever's in that white background will print. There's another way around that too. So if you go to plot, instead of layout, if you did window, and you selected everything that you wanted to print inside that window, you could also do center the plot and preview, and it will center the image. There's a lot of ways to do it, but for right now, we're not doing anything complicated, so you can just do layout and just make sure that your title block is fitting with inside that layout. Is this flashing black getting too much for anybody? Let me know, because I'll stop doing this. And I'll go on to the regular computer. Okay. Stop me if that's okay. So when I print, go to preview, everything here is coming out in multicolors, right? To stop that, for it to use the layers that we set up, you can go over here and you can go to, for right now, we'll just work in monochrome, right? Monochrome meaning, if you look at it, it's going to print in black and white. So it's going to override those colors. I don't want to get into all the line weights and stuff right now. The main thing is just printing and knowing what viewports are, knowing what a title block is, and knowing what this window controls. So when you print, right, you want your file to have these settings so it can print like this. What you can do, and I would highly recommend it, is that when you have your drawings in here, right, you can have an XREF layer that you make, or you can have an image layer that you make. But if you set that on your level or on your layers and you go to the layer properties, I would make sure that that XREF layer is on do not print. So whenever you are working in the file, you'll be able to see the background of your image. You'll also be able to very quickly, when you're working, turn on and off that layer when you're working of the floor plans, right? You'll be able to control the layer color and the images will be able to turn on and off. So when you print, because it's on the no print selection, your drawings won't, like your image references won't plot, which is great because I don't want to see those. I want to see what you drew. Does that make sense? So here I have all of these on a layer in the title block, I believe, on a no plot layer, GNO no plot, NPLT, right? So when you go over here to plot your title block, you'll see that when I preview it, there's nothing here. There's no drawing name, there's no drawing number. So what I recommend everyone to do, because this information on every sheet changes. If you have 3 sheets of floor plans, you have like an A1, A2, A3, first floor plan, second floor plan, third floor plan, right? It's all consecutive. So go into the title block, right? Select these. And you can select this one, right? All of that information on every sheet may or may not change, but definitely the sheet name and the sheet number. And go to copy. And then on your floor plan sheet, right? On the drawing file that you're working on for your floor plans, go to the layout and do paste origin. And if those things line up, right, where are they? Nope, wait, go back. Select these two, Control C, don't write copy, do Control C, go over here, Control V, you can line them up. But make sure that you change their layers now that they're in your project. So take that and put it on text. So now that it's on text, they'll show up. So it doesn't get confusing. You can actually, in your layers, right, your layer manager, see how you have a filter? There's all XREF layers, all used layers in the XREF. You can actually open up, because if you scroll down, you'll get these gray layers. That means that these are in the title block drawing. So any layers that are in the title block drawing, you can actually control. So you can shut off, because it might be visually distracting, the no plot layer on the title block so that there's no overlap. If I had that on, you'd constantly see the overlap. Does that make sense? So when we're in class today, I'll give you guys this file shortly. You can download it and then put it in your drawing so that we could work through the title block together and set it up. Because I want everyone to try to submit a PDF of their drawing file either today or tonight or something. All right.